Hi, I'm Sarah from Floral, and I'm going to give you guys a super quick tutorial on bezels today. So bezels are what you're going to be putting your flower arrangements in, and I thought I would tell you a couple different considerations that you should think about when you're choosing what you're going to put your flowers in. So the first thing you should think about is how are you going to stabilize your flowers? So flowers need some sort of structure to them and some sort of home for them to nestle in, or else they're going to be kind of like wild looking. So if you're making a centerpiece that's in a quite large bezel, perhaps like this one, how are you going to keep your flowers all structured together? So that's where there's two different types of things you can use. Florifoam, which is this stuff here, or chicken wire. So there's pros and cons to each. There's very heated opinions about florifoam, but I'm not going to go into kind of the pros and cons of either of them, just letting you know that there's the two options for stabilizing. So if you're going to be using a clear container like this, that gives you a little bit of a limitation to how you're going to stabilize your flowers. If you can imagine, I take this green florifoam and stick it inside here, not the prettiest looking thing. Same thing if you imagine your chicken wire being in there, it would also show. So if you're going to do a clear container like that, you might want to stabilize it instead using floral tape, which you would stretch across the surface of the bezel in a crisscross pattern, and then that will give the structure for the blooms to be in place. If you're going to use a bezel like this one here, which is a solid color, you don't have that same limitation when it comes to adding in your chicken wire or florifoam, because obviously the side covers it. So I also wanted to talk to you guys about sizing. So when you're picking a bezel, your bezel is often way smaller than the actual diameter of the flowers that end up making the arrangement. So if you're choosing a small bezel, say like this guy, your flower arrangement isn't going to be this big. Your flowers are going to extend sideways and upward, so a bezel like this could very well get you a flower arrangement that's like this. So keep that in mind, that you don't buy too big of an arrangement, because this sort of 4-inch pot will get you like an 8-inch wide arrangement. So this guy here is going to give you a huge arrangement once you actually put the flowers in it. This guy here is a bud vase I thought I would show you. And you want to make sure your bud vases are not too big, because if you put this one here, say with one flower, it would look kind of funny because this is still quite a big diameter vase. So this one here probably needs about 3 flowers in order to actually look balanced. Let's also chat about this one here. So this is actually a small container that's not very pretty, but it's the perfect size for 1 block of Oasis foam. And that can just rest inside of it. And you can make your arrangements kind of spilling over the edges to sort of hide the edges of the bezel. And this is a really nice idea if you want to make a centerpiece that you're not going to have a super expensive bezel, because these are just plastic. Keep in mind though, when I said about the size, so this guy here, once you add flowers to it, you're looking at something that's quite large. So this size of a bezel would be something that maybe you're putting on top of your arrangements that are framing your front aisle, and maybe this is on concrete steps leading up to some sort of ceremony area or your reception. So those are kind of a couple things to think about when you're looking for bezels, in terms of you need to think about how you're going to secure them in place, whether it's chicken wire, foam, or tape. And then you need to consider whether you're going to go with clear glass or one that is solid like this one here. And then you should think about as well where you're going to get them. So you could go thrift store shopping or the dollar store. Also, Facebook Marketplace is a great place to look for them. So hopefully that gives you guys some ideas on how to use bezels in your DIY floral work. And let me know if you have any questions.